1,000, but news that the rate of the spread of the disease is slowing in Liberia is bringing hope. And Israel's Prime Minister says personal attacks on him from the US are merely because he is defending Israel. It comes after unidentified US officials lambasted the Premier for his settlement policies. Welcome back to you then. Second half of the France 24 debate, and the battle has been raging for weeks. The latest reports still of heavy fighting right in the middle of the town, which has become a symbol of the plight of Syria. But now the people of Kobane hope that the cavalry finally on its way. Already, as we've been reporting, the group estimated of numbers ranging between 50 and 150 of Syrian Free Army fighters, but our expert there telling us a little earlier on, so far just 50 in fact have arrived in Kobane. Closely behind, but still on their way, around 150 Kurdish Peshmerga fighters from Iraq. But the question, will it be enough to tip the battle in favour of those trying to defend the town from Islamic State group militants? And also, of course, the question about Turkey and its role in this conflict. I'm going to turn first to Emre Demir, who's editor of the Franco-Turk paper Zaman France. There's been a lot of criticism, hasn't there, of Turkey for not doing enough earlier. Why do you think it's, in some people's minds, sat on its hands here?
Well, I understand that from the Ankara's position, Turkey is not ready to say that Assad regime is our secondary problem. But the problem we see this position from France from Paris and other allies. But the problem for Turkey that the first priority is the Assad regime, and the second threat for Turkey is the PKK issue, and the third problem is ISIS. Turkey seriously undermines the ISIS threat, and I think that Erdogan does not understand the international sense of urgency towards ISIS, and that's the problem.
Do you really think, though, within Turkey that ISIS is really third down on that list, even when there are all these fighters right next to the border?
Yeah, we have a sense that ISIS is a temporary problem, and it will be solved anyways. And but PKK, if PKK will have an independent state over the border of Turkey, and we have 50 million Kurds living in Turkey, and that will create an atmosphere which can lead to a Kurdish independent state. So it's a sense of a threat for Ankara's regime. It's understandable, but the problem for Turkey that they had made so many mistakes during these recent years, and that it's not possible today to fulfill all of its desires. It can fulfill some of them by working closely with its closest allies such as US and the West. But Erdogan thinks utterly. I think he thinks that he has all the cards to play this game.
The trouble is, I suppose, that from people looking at it from the outside, all they see is the battle that's actually happening in Kobane right now. Yeah. And they see Turkey, whilst people may be able to understand that they don't want to actually get involved in the fighting themselves, they could at least let other people go across to join the fight.
Yeah. This is the problem. This is another problem. Turkey's proposition. Turkey has a different point of view over Syria, but they don't have clear answers. They don't have realistic propositions. That's the problem. Davutoğlu said today that they don't want ISIS on the border, they don't want PKK on the border, and they don't want Assad either on the border. So how it can be possible for Turkey? And I think that Turkey has not an answer. They want a consistent, a cohesive policy over Syria, which consists a scenario toppling Assad regime, but who will replace Assad? We don't have an answer. Erdogan says that there will be free elections and the peoples will emerge, but it's highly unrealistic. Turkey tries to converge, to create some kind of a rivalry between the Kurds, between Barzani and the PKK. It's not realistic. They try to back Free Syrian Army over Kurds or against ISIS, but they are weak at first, and Iran is highly hostile to this Turkey's position. So we have a Turkey kind of a lot of different positions from the regional rivals, from the closest allies. So I think that Erdogan lost his credibility over these regional issues. That is the problem, and that comes from Erdogan's vision of the region. He thinks he didn't understand the sense of urgency towards ISIS. He has a personal fixation on the Assad regime, which is understandable from Ankara's position, but still, it creates a complicated message for the international community.
Alan Cavell, I mean, as we said, you've just come back from Turkey. I mean, do you think Erdogan has done all he could do in this situation?
Well, it depends what was his aim. If his aim was to reduce the PYD presence, to wait for ISIS to take over Kobane, and for the PKK-affiliated militants from the YPG and PYD to be routed, well, he did what he could, but it did not succeed, because Kobane still stands. Yeah. Anyway, if the aim was to root ISIS and to for ISIS to be close to the Turkish border, no, it did not. Nothing actually, because we could see, as I said, the ISIS fighters a few hundred meters from the border, as I said, under the eyes of the Turkish military, and so there was nothing done in order to root ISIS in this area. Not at all.
OK, let's go back to Washington, speak to Kadir Ustan. I mean, do you think Erdogan has done all he can, or was he just stuck between a rock and a hard place and, in the end, decided to do nothing initially?
Look, there's a serious problem here with respect to the U.S. policy. The U.S. simply announced this anti-ISIS coalition without actually creating the coalition in the first place, and expected certain countries to do certain things. Turkey doesn't see ISIS as it sees it as a consequence of the Syrian civil war, which Assad regime is responsible. He killed more than 300,000 people. He used chemical weapons, and the situation in Syria, and he actually supported ISIS. He supported them financially, and they didn't bomb each other. They didn't attack each other.
A
similar deal happened with... What's that?
It's a real threat now, though, isn't it?
Of course it is a real threat. But how are you going to confront that threat? That's the problem Turkey and the US cannot come to terms with. So are we going to attack ISIS without a comprehensive solution to the Syrian crisis? That's what Turkey is concerned about. That means you bomb ISIS, and then 2-3 months later, you say, okay, ISIS is done. Then what? What's going to happen to the conditions that created ISIS in the first place? There's going to be another group emerging, and there's going to be, again, another campaign. Don't forget, Turkey is not standing by for Kurds to be killed there. There were massacres against Arabs and Turkmens all over Syria. Turkey did not go in and help. How is this, where is this expectation coming from, really, that Turkey should cross the border into Syria without an attack on itself, without a legitimate defensive argument, and without any coalition members being involved on the ground? How do you expect Turkey to take a unilateral action? And Turkey has done so many things to support the civilians in Kobane and even the fighters in Kobane, despite the fact that Turkey sees PYD as an extension of PKK, which currently is armed and well positioned inside Turkey, and has been threatening to restart the armed struggle against the Turkish state. Despite all that, Turkey is helping Kobane. So this image that Turkey doesn't care about the Kurds, it has an anti-Kurdish policy, I don't think that's accurate at all when you look at the sequence of the events. At the same time, both in Iraq and Syria, the coalition is much more about fighting ISIS, but it's not about addressing the political problems in both countries. So without a political solution in either of the countries, where are we going to be in 6 months down the road, 1 year down the road? And I think Turkey's questions are legitimate, and it's hard asking the hard questions, but the coalition unfortunately doesn't have answers for that. And it's of course easy to reduce it to Turkish allergy to Kurds. which doesn't exist. That's 2 years ago, Turkey started the peace process with the Kurds, with PKK. It's been negotiating with, it's talking to Öcalan and now negotiating to Öcalan because of the fact that Turkey recognizes that it needs to grow with the Kurds in the Middle East. But PYD's situation in Syria is a different story because it's, Turkey has developed relations with Peshmerga and Kurds at home, but PKK is trying to legitimize itself by the international, get it legitimized by the international community through this fight in Kobane. Don't forget, PYD did not.
Let me ask you, Emre Demir, whether you think that Turkey, if Turkey is not going to get more involved in this, if it decides not to react to the pressure that the US is putting on, do you think the coalition can do it on its own?
Well, the problem is who decides for Turkey's policy. For example, in 20 October, Erdogan made a statement after his visit to Kazakhstan. He said that Turkey cannot create a corridor to help Kurds. Turkey cannot make a military aid to Kurds. 3 hours after, he received a phone call from Obama. Obama announced that they made some airdrops to Kobane, and Erdogan made a drastic, unexpected changement to his policy. To Turkey decided to open the gates for the Peshmerga. I think Turkey is under pressure from international community, especially from the US. And I agree with some points made by Kadir. It's not because Turkey is allergic to Kurds or to its, there's a sense of ideological connection between ISIS and AKP. This is just not true. But the fact that although Turkey says makes some good points, they have lost their legitimacy or they have lost their capacity to be influential over Syria. I think that's the problem, and Turkey is under pressure. For example, for weeks and weeks, we thought Turkey had a bad press from the international press, from the international community, by blocking a Kurdish corridor, by blocking his gate, the gates of Turkey. And then, after a phone call from Obama, Turkey has made a dramatic change over its policy. So I don't think that Turkey can decide all alone to his policies over Syria. There's an important pressure from US. There's a, although it is weak, there's a plan from Obama to fight against ISIS. And I think that Turkey has to be more flexible to work along with its closest allies on this issue. And Turkey will not be alone to decide this position.
And Alan Cavell, I mean, do you think maybe that Turkey's just...
Could I add something?
Sorry, carry on.
Okay. I just want to show how Kadir contradicts himself. In one hand, Kadir talks about Turkey is doing negotiation with PKK. On the other hand, Kadir presents PKK's influence on Syrian Kurds as a threat. This is a contradiction. So the problem here is that the Syrian Kurds, some 3 million Kurds, their rights. So Kobane has been the symbol for the whole world, around the globe. People are sympathizing with Kobane. People are caring for Kobane. Turkey is alone. This shows that Turkey is, Turkey is not doing right. Alan said something. It is Turkey. Nobody asked Turkey to send ground troops to Syria. Nobody is asking Turkey to do. But at least, you could not just watch it. Your tanks are on the border. You don't watch. Even you are attacked. Kadir talked about attacks. There are many incidents documented. ISIS artillery, ISIS shelling landed in Turkey. Turkey chose to do nothing. So it's not, the problem is not you're taking care of refugees. The problem is the source. Why did you cause that? So you are not allowing people to go. UN mentioned that, another Srebrenica. So you are not allowing volunteers to go defend their homes. You don't want Kurds of Turkey to go defend. So you just upset the international community, international coalition, just because they are doing the right thing. No, it is Turkey has been doing wrong. Turkey's purpose, Turkey's objective from the very beginning was that collapse of Kobane. because Turkey left out of Syrian picture. Turkey could not prevent what Syrian Kurds achieved. This was a good opportunity for Turkey to crash Kurdish gainings in Syria. This was Turkey investing on. But YPGs, Kurdish People's Protection Units, heroic resistance prevented this. Now the all international media is seeing this. International community is seeing this. US had to shift the policy once they see there is a resistance there. Everybody is France. Your country was there. Mr. Hollande had the last week had called. So all Germany, all powers seeing this, that Kobane needs to be protected. It's not only a symbol, it's very strategic as well. So,
okay, Emre Demir, how would you respond to that then?
Well, I agree with some points of Mutlu. The real problem with Turkey actually is that Turkey is kind of out of a picture right now. Turkey had some legitimate questions over the coalition Syria policy, but they made some serious mistakes over the years and after this crisis that raises some questions over Turkey's policy. I think that Turkey has an inconsistent policy over Syria, and that's I think that related to the Erdogan question. We have a one-man rule in Turkey, and Turkey wanted to create a sort of a Sunni alliance over the region. Erdogan gambled on this chance, and he lost it all. I think that all of these inconsistent policies from Turkey are coming from these mistakes.
But Mutlu's point is that it's all very well to talk about this, but literally just across the border from Turkey, there's this big battle going on, and lots of people are losing their lives, and that Turkey just stood back and did nothing.
Well, nothing. I'm not sure. Turkey welcomed millions of refugees from Syria, but on the ISIS issue, as I said, I think Turkey wants to have a clear strategy over Assad. To make an military intervention in Syria. Ankara might be right on this issue over their perspective, but they are wrong over a lot of questions, over a lot of positions that I think that Turkey has to drastically change its policy, its foreign policy, and Ankara has to work closer with its Western allies.
Okay, so Alan Cavell,
I want to do an analogy, if you allow me, please. I just want to respond to Emre.
Okay.
So you just, if you are a neighbor, you just don't watch your neighbor's home being burnt. Some people are coming and burning. You don't just watch and see their house is burning, their people is burning, and then you don't say, hey, come on, I am letting you in my home. Your responsibility ethically as a neighbor is this, to prevent the fire take place, to prevent people to burn the house. Before it you can do. There is no point. 200,000 people are in Turkey, in Suruç, in the camps. What is the point? Turkey could have done very, very easily, instead of watching, could have prevented this. So now we are just going to come and applaud Turkey for hosting 200,000 people who have lost their all life savings. This is not the case.
Okay, we take your point. I get your point.
Okay.
Let's just ask one of our other guests what they feel about it. Alan Cavell, obviously there's two very different points of view here, and quite a heated debate. I mean, where do you think Turkey? I mean, it almost feels, listening to this, that it can't do right whichever it does.
Well, we have to understand the point of view of Turkey and the point of view of the PYD. This is not the Turks against the Kurds. This is political actors fighting or having a conflict and rivalries. Turkey doesn't want the PKK-affiliated PYD to build an autonomous zone in Syria. It just doesn't. Mm-hmm. And for years, it's been courting the Kurds of Iraq for them to send pro-Iraqi Kurds, Syrian Kurds, politicians, and try to have and to weaken the PYD in Syria. The process of bringing Peshmerga from Iraq to from Kurdistan, Iraqi Kurdistan, to Kobane is an aspect of this. Of course, it will strengthen the resistance against the ISIS, but at the same time, it will somehow weaken the monopoly of the YPG in the fight against ISIS. And so you have to understand that Turkey just doesn't want the PYD to be strong in Syria. It doesn't want the PYD to organize with its own view an autonomous Kurdistan in Syria, and that's what they did nothing, and that's why they wanted Kobane to collapse, that's why they waited for Kobane to collapse, that's why they tried to find another policy when it happened that Kobane stood.
Okay, well, we've just got a couple of minutes left, so let's leave the last word to Kadir Özden. I mean, do you feel that Turkey has done all it can, or do you think, as your other guest was saying there from Washington, that it's just sat back and not done anything and watched this happen?
Look, Turkey wants this mission to be broadened, right? Turkey said, let's create safe zones, including Kobane. Let's create no-fly zone, and let's train the opposition, and let's push Assad to sit at the table. So you are hyper-focused on one location, which is important for Turkey, Turkey's Kurds and Kurds there. But there is a huge civil war that's been going on, and there's an ISIS presence everywhere. So we are hyper-focused on Kobane, and we are forgetting
But Kobane is a part of Turkish domestic politics.
PYD...
With all the Rojavites.
Yes, exactly.
It's not Syrian politics. It's Syrian politics, but it's mostly Turkish domestic politics.
I know that. PYD did not want Turkey to come in and help. All they wanted was heavy...
That's not true. That's not true. Mr. Salih was in Turkey. That's not the case.
Okay, Kadir Özden, just finish your point, because we are running out of time. So, Kadir Özden, just briefly finish your point, if you can.
Okay, PYD wanted heavy arms to be given to them. PKK at home has not withdrawn from Turkey and hasn't disarmed. The peace process hasn't arrived at that point. And PKK continues to threaten Turkey, and they have done actions even today, just a couple days before. So they asked Turkey to arm the PYD, allow arming of PYD to create an autonomous zone, and in 3 months, 6 months, a year down the road, they could actually fight Turkey when peace process collapses, when and if. I hope it doesn't. I hope it survives this. But this was the choice Turkey was faced with.
Okay, we're going to have to stop it there. It does sound like one of those debates which, of course, we could probably carry on for at least another hour. But thank you very much to all of our guests for coming in, talking to us. Kadir Özden and also to Mutlu Siviruglu joining us from Washington. And here in the studio, Emre Demir, thanks very much. And also Alan Cavell, thank you to all of you. Stay with us, though. We're just about to have today's Media Watch. And we're carrying on with Media Watch, what people are saying on social media about this issue. Of course, lots of different people tweeting to do with Kobane and the situation there. Hala Mahidi.
There absolutely is. We're seeing a lot of this, obviously, in the mainstream press. In Al Arabiya, of course, it's one of the top stories. But also on social media, this is an issue which is making waves. A lot of people tend to be focusing on the cavalry is coming aspect. So the images that we're seeing are of the not the FSA fighters so much, but the Iraqi Peshmerga who are leaving and making their way towards the town of Kobane. This person tweeting images, focusing on almost the rock star aspect of it. We've got the media gathered. We've got crowds of supporters waiting to see the convoy passing by. Another person saying they're almost feeling sorry for IS at the sea of humanity, which is making its way to the town. So a lot of people focusing on this almost procession and the cavalry is coming kind of aspect. People are also commenting on the fact that this is quite a symbolic move. It's boosting the morale of the Kurdish people by having other Kurds coming to help out. Some people arguing that, you know, morale is already quite high in the town of Kobane. You see groups of fighters sort of celebrating with music and lots of victory signs being hoisted aloft. Another piece which is trending on social media to do with the Kurdish fight in Kobane is this editorial which was published in the New York Times, and it was written by Mesa Abdo, who is a female Kurdish commander. She wrote this editorial in the New York Times, and people are picking up on the aspect of she's fighting for the rights of women everywhere. Now, in the piece, which I've just brought up there, she's saying that the town shouldn't fight the Islamic State alone, very critical of Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Turkey. She's saying also that they need more sophisticated weaponry, not just the fighters who are coming in. But what people are taking from this piece is the one paragraph which I've highlighted there below. We are defending a democratic, secular society of Kurds, Arabs, Muslims and Christians who all face massacre, really pointing to the fact that they are focusing on, this is women fighting for women's rights and the democratic aspect they're trying to protect.
OK, good to get that angling, because it's something that I don't think we've discussed that very much here on France 24, so thanks very much for that. Hala, that's Hala Mahidin. She'll be back with lots more editions of Media Watch over the next few hours here on France 24. Latest news headlines will be with you in about 3 minutes' time, so do stay with us if you possibly can.